Hype, HYPE. Get hype.
You're the hype man.
I'm not, though. I don't have one. I wish I had one. That'd be pretty sweet. Have your own hype man with you all the time. Be pretty cool.
I've never understood the benefits of a hype man other than...
He's there to hype you up, make you look good. The guy's there. He's letting you know how good you are. That's everyone. The crowd's got to know how good you are.
Is he hyping you or hyping the crowd?
You. You are the one being hyped. Like, the crowd is getting hype, but you are the recipient of it.
So he's there to hype you.
Yeah.
And then you, therefore, are hyping the crowd.
Right, yes.
These are important details that I think everyone should know on episode 37 of We Were Gamers.
As all should know, hype men and women of all shapes and sizes are important to the rap game.
I wish we need a guest that can really, truly bring out your ability to hip-hop and rap.
I do enjoy listening to it a lot when I get the chance, although that chance is infrequent these days, but it is fun.
Why? Why is it infrequent? Don't you drive in a car to work?
I do, but then I listen to podcasts all the time in my car, so I don't have like a lot of music listening time. I guess I choose not. I choose to listen to the podcasts instead of music.
Yeah, I do find myself watching, or not watching, I guess, but listening to a lot more podcast news and things like that. You know, because it's like radio on demand now.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
I want I want to listen to a politics thing or like a CES rundown or something like that.
Right. Like I treat it a lot like, oh, I want to listen to something on this topic. Here's a thing on this topic. Let me get it. Oh, here's like a funny comedy thing. I'm going to listen to that. Oh, here's a informative thing about racing cars or whatever.
Yeah. What's your top podcast right now?
I would still say I listen to the Giant Bombcast the most. But that's just more of like, you know, it's like 2.5 hours long every week, and it's a great amount of covers all my to and from work. Yeah,
I'm pretty regular on most of my podcasts, but I think that the one that I click the fastest when it's available is Hello from the Magic Tavern still.
Yeah, I'm so far behind on that one.
It's pretty wacky.
I do like it, and yes, it is very wacky. That's a great one if people have never checked it out before.
Yeah.
Hello from the Magic Tavern is really, really funny.
Improv fantasy story.
It like air quotes fantasy, I guess. I mean, like, yes, it takes place in a fantasy world, but like the fantasy is irrelevant.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, well, you'll be happy to know, JJ, my ant problem has diminished to the 2 self-made ant hotels that I have.
Oh, okay. You checked them in and they didn't check out?
No, they're checking out, but they're taking home the virus.
Insidious.
Yeah.
My problem is that it won't stop freaking raining, and my backyard is like flooding.
Oh yeah, we've killed a lot of the grass in the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So that has turned into a gigantic mudslide.
Yep. Yeah, it's like my backyard.
And my pool has filled at least 6 inches of water, so I've had to drain it 3 times during this storm, which is
you guys
crazy.
Got six inches up there. That's a lot.
Well, no, I don't think it's 6 inches, but I've drained 6 inches of water out of my pool.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
I don't know how you measure. I don't think the pool is the correct way to measure rainfall.
Probably not. We have a rain gauge in my backyard, and we've gotten multiple inches here over the course of this. Since the last episode, anyway.
Yeah, I think we've gotten a ton here. We have rain barrels at the house too, and I've had to just open one of them, like at the bottom, to just let it drain out because it's literally just everything's overflowing, and the rain was coming down so hard that my 2 drain lines weren't draining water out of the barrels fast enough, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, Stephanie and I have been looking into getting those just to have them. You get rebates and stuff, so might as well.
They're pretty cool. I'll give you a piece of advice. Get cinder blocks to put them on.
Okay.
Like, to raise them
off the concrete that they start on or whatever?
Yeah. It'll give them a good 6 inches up in the air.
Just so that the draining is easier?
Yeah, so that when you hook a hose up to it, or if you put a bucket under it, you get a real good amount of room underneath. because they have a spigot that you can put in the middle of the barrel, but then you're missing half your capacity.
Half the water, yeah. Why?
So you put the spigot at the bottom, like ours. Ours are lifted, but they're only like 3 or 4 inches. So unless it's running downhill, the water doesn't really help you. You got to like tilt the bucket and stuff. So I got to wait.
And that's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
okay, cool.
Now people know about rain barrels.
Maybe... Home Improvement Minute.
Have you been watching any AGDQ? I know it's not the biggest news of the week. We'll get to that later, but we didn't really have much to talk about at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the runs. Again, Twitch is blocked at work because, of course, it is. What possible work purpose could there be in having a video game streaming website available?
Well, now it's a lifestyle streaming website, JJ.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to sway my bosses, Andrew.
Oh man, really?
Yeah. There's
no way.
There's no possible work purpose I can even attempt to justify from that. But they are pretty good at posting their stuff on YouTube relatively quickly this year, unlike some years. So they come up like, maybe like 24 hours delayed or whatever. But there's so many runs that missing, being an hour behind is fine, since I'm going to have to skip 80% of the runs anyway, because who's got the time?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's 12 hours that you probably aren't watching, at least because you're asleep.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah.
And doing other things.
And there are runs all those times,
Yep.
But they have, I watched some stuff. It's been pretty cool. There was a Shovel Knight race between 2 people that came down they finished within seconds of each other.
Nice.
Sorry, tangent. Shovel Knight, speaking of that game, is going to get a price hike soon. So if people like that game, if you like Mega Man and DuckTales, you should like that game, because that's what that game is. They're going to raise the price on the original version of it, but put out their updated campaigns as separate downloads for a lower price. And then the original version goes up in price because it includes all the lower stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if people want that, like that game, which you should because it's awesome, go check out that AGDQ run of the 2 people so you can see how rad it is and how you pogo on the shovel.
I'm opening my Steam library to see if I own it already.
Yeah, buy it now before the price goes up.
Well, I don't know.
Then you get all the DLC for free. So.
Oh, you get all the stuff they're going to release for free?
Yeah. The version, if you own it before they make the change, you'll get everything they're releasing. You'll get the deluxe version or whatever that comes with all of it.
Wow, that's
or
a big
you can
piece of
buy
news.
The single pieces individually for a lower price.
I have to put in my Steam Guard code.
Anyway, but yeah, I've seen a few of the stuff. There was a mystery game tournament there.
A mystery game tournament?
It's a mystery speedrun tournament, I guess, where I guess they've been doing them online for a while, but this was their first chance to do one in person. And they did an online qualifier of 16 people and had it down to 4 that they had on the stream. And they did 3 rounds, and each round the slowest person got knocked out. And they give you random games that you've never seen or never played before. Well, maybe never played before. There's no guarantee, of course. And you just have to beat it faster than the other people.
Cool.
It was really hilarious. They played some Donkey Kong game where you had to tap on bongos to move and do stuff, which I had never seen or heard of before. And it was pretty funny to watch. And then the next game, I think, was... I forget. And then the third game was Adventure Island 4 or something, which I'd also never heard of. Which is this dude... it's like a platformer, but he gains you get eggs and you throw axes and stuff. It's a pretty standard looking kind of game, but yeah, again, it's a game no one has ever heard of.
Right.
I think it was for the Wii or something.
Huh.
So yeah, they just threw random games in front of people and they're like, here you go. Here's your end goal. Get to 2-2 or whatever, or beat the boss of 2-4 and go. And then whoever, got there last is knocked out, and they continue. That was really cool to watch.
Cool. I liked, they ran Descent 2.
Oh man, the one where you're in the mine shaft the whole time?
Yeah. It was pretty cool to watch, especially because he looked like he was, the dude looked like he was drunk the way he was moving throughout the game. And the reason I liked this was it was a lot of it was about games from the Descent 2 era and the crazy things they've discovered in those types of games because of how they were programmed. Like in Descent 2, never move forward if you're trying to do a run. You move in 2 directions at once because if you move on 2 axes, you move 60% faster.
That's like true in Doom also, by the way. You can run faster running diagonally than you can walking forward.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of interesting because they talked a lot about like older style games.
That's cool stuff. I love learning that stuff.
Yeah. And so that was cool. And, you know, you always get to kind of discover new games that they're running. Like they just ran a game to yesterday evening called oh gosh, now I've forgotten the name of it. Titan Souls.
Oh,
which is kind of a newer game that just came out, I think, which looked kind of interesting. It looked like
recent.
Like a top-down Zelda sort of style game, but not as much RPG element. So you kind of learn about new stuff. And I found out about a new website called ChronoGG. I guess they're a sponsor.
Yeah, I saw that they were sponsoring it. I didn't really investigate what their website does.
So they're a sales site, kind of like the other ones like Bundle Stars and stuff like that, or Humble Bundle.
Okay.
But they only have one game per day on the entire website that you can buy.
Huh.
And it's on huge sale. So like yesterday was Titan Souls, and it was 77% off. So
okay.
You could get Titan Souls for $4. And then today, Titan Souls goes away, and a new game comes on. And that's it. That's the only thing on.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. A lot easier to follow than what Humble Bundle has become, which is just a massive, sprawling, not great deals store.
Yeah, I actually bought the most recent Humble monthly bundle because you get XCOM 2 for $12, which is as cheap as it was on Black Friday.
Wow.
And then you get a bunch of other games later.
Huh.
So it's like you get one now for it's like supposed to be a subscription service, so you pay the $12 or whatever, and then next month you'll pay the $12 again and you got a different game. But I canceled my subscription immediately because all I wanted was XCOM 2.
Nice. Not
that I have any time to play XCOM, but
of course not. I don't think I have XCOM 2. I'm pretty sure I only have those enemy unknowns and all that.
The original, I say the original XCOM, the
Enemy Within,
the sequel to that new XCOM that came out recently, is what this game is.
Enemy Unknown.
Yes, thank you. And this is the sequel to that. And that first game was really good, and I liked it a lot. So I assume that this game is good, or more of that, which is what I want.
So this will be your next thing after The Witcher, then?
Maybe. We'll see.
Sweet. I can't wait to hear about it. I do not own Shovel Knight yet, so I'll probably have to do that.
That is a good game you can just pick up and play. You know, it's a platformer. You know, like I said, it's like a cross between Mega Man and DuckTales.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good controls, really good music. A lot of fun.
The coolest thing I think that I saw on AGDQ, and I think this is the last point for me, but I had never heard of this before, but I guess they do it every year. At some point in the thing, over the course of like midnight to 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., they do something called the Awful Block.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did not realize that had already happened, actually. I'll have to go back and find the YouTube videos because those games are usually horrible and hilarious.
So you want to tell people what it's about?
So the Awful Games block is where they have people speedrun what are normally considered bad games, I think is a safe way to put it. These are games that were not popular when they came out. Usually they are poorly programmed and are, or they are either like rip-offs of other kinds of games, or they just control horribly, or they make no sense in what they're doing, and then they make people speedrun them. Yeah.
It's usually speedrunners that have not speedrun them before. They go into a practice room and they tell them that they're speedrunning a game. And they practice it once, and then they come on the stream or something like that, and they do it.
I think some of them get more practice than that, but it's still like they're still bad games, and they are. And man, it shows.
Most of them take about 10 minutes to beat too.
It's like it's like those old arcade beat 'em ups or whatever, but these are like the ones that no one played because they were that bad.
It was pretty awesome.
It's fun to punch bad guys, but like this game makes no sense.
Yeah.
It
was pretty
why
awesome.
did you have to jump off the side of the screen there? I don't know, but that's what you have to do.
Or like they'll break bosses like you can't do in other games. So I saw one game where this dude had some sort of rifle or something that he was using in his shoot 'em up style 2D side scroller, kind of like Metal Slug style game. And he gets to the boss, and he kind of like splits the screen with his character. So he goes off the left side of the screen, and his gun comes out the right side of the screen and shoots the boss from behind, and the boss can't hit him. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
It's silly, and the games usually are pretty silly. I know one year they ran a like one of those licensed Batman games that was really terrible.
Yeah.
So it's worth watching if you just want to see some silly stuff.
They also ran Arkham City this week.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know people were running those kinds of games, but I guess it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I just never, when you hear speedrun, you think classic style, NES era games and some newer games, but usually platformers.
Right.
But they were running stuff like that this year. Although they've run things like Skyrim before too.
Yeah, that's true. And I've seen runs of games like Mass Effect and stuff that are really interesting because they glitch out of bounds a lot of cases and like walk straight to endings and do some weird stuff. So I like that feature too. That stuff is cool.
Yeah. So during some of the AGDQ time, I was inspired last week when we had Ken on. Thanks again, Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
And I was inspired to go through my phone and look at the mobile games that I had on my phone.
Okay.
I've got like 3 pages because at one point when I broke my last phone, I said, I'm going to download every program I've ever bought, like actually paid money for or like downloaded, and make sure that I've got everything and then declutter. And like, then I will, because I got a huge capacity phone, I will have every program that I really actually want and stop like re-downloading things. And finding out if I have them or whatever. And that ended me with like 3 pages of games.
It's a lot of games.
Well, half of them were like free-to-play things that I'd never tried or whatever.
Gotcha.
So this is part 1 of the decluttering, JJ.
Oh?
Yeah,
I went. Be a weekly segment?
I don't know if it'll be weekly. I'm going to try and make it weekly so that I'm done in like 2 or 3 weeks and people don't have to hear about it anymore. But I'm going to give like a rapid fire list of games that I tried that were on my phone. That some of them are like from like iPhone 3 era games.
Okay, some of these are old.
Some of them are old, and like I get a literal text box that comes up and says, "This game has not been updated. It may slow down your phone."
Yikes.
Yeah. The screen, it doesn't go across the whole screen because it was made for a smaller screen, that sort of stuff.
Sure.
So like my rapid fire list of games I've tried, what I thought about them, and whether or not people should download them.
All right.
Are you ready?
Clock starts.
Okay.
Now.
I finished Amateur Surgeon, the one that we talked about during the holiday.
Right.
I finally did the last 2 characters on that. And I would say don't do it on your phone, do it on the PC.
Okay.
The last 2 characters are way too hard with the finger controls. You'll lose almost every time because like something messes up and then you kill the guy. So do it with a PC. Play it on the Flash game.
Done. Next.
Done. Burn the Rope. Free to play game. You ignite like a pattern. So like it'll give you a star, right? And you tap the star and it catches on fire, and then you have to keep the flame pointed upward in order to burn the rope. So it's like a puzzle game.
I see. So you're like rotating your phone around to keep the flame on the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Interesting. Control Define had interesting elements where like the flames changed color and you can only burn certain ropes with certain colored flames. Didn't keep my interest very long though. After the first 4 or 5 levels, just kind of was like, what am I doing? Seems like busy work.
Was this a free game also?
Yeah, after the first world, you have to pay to unlock more worlds and more puzzles, basically, right?
I assume you did not do that.
Oh, no, I didn't. No.
Okay.
I'll tell you in this block if I did pay for it.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Fix-It Felix. Did you ever see the movie?
Wreck-It Ralph. That movie was great.
So they made a game from Wreck-It Ralph called Fix-It Felix.
Oh, cool.
Kind of interesting. Actually kept my interest long enough for me to beat it. Where you play as Felix and you go upwards along this building and you just fix the windows that Ralph has wrecked, like in the movie.
Like in the arcade game that the movie was based on or
exactly.
whatever.
I would enjoy it more if it was an arcade game. You have to like swipe to move Felix around. And eventually your finger just gets tired as you're swiping left, right, left, you know, like.
Gotcha. Yeah, that seems annoying.
Especially as your screen starts to fill up with more and more windows to repair, because you only start with like one row, right? You just go left and right and fix windows. And then you get 2 rows and you go left, right, up, down to fix windows. And then there start to be more things on the screen like shutters and birds and all sorts of, you know, things to avoid while he's throwing barrels at you from the top of this building.
Gotcha.
So it kind of wears your finger out a little bit too much, but it was an interesting concept. Free, so worth downloading once and trying.
Okay.
First recommend. Got deleted from my phone afterwards because I wouldn't play it again.
Okay. Nothing to go back to there.
Nothing to go back to. Worth trying out once.
Okay.
Land a Panda.
Land a Panda.
Imagine if you played Donkey Kong, but only did the cannon part of Donkey Kong where it shot you around.
How is Landa spelled?
Land-A-Panda.
Got it.
Terrible game.
Okay.
Horrible.
Nothing else to say about it. It was terrible.
Nope. You literally just shoot yourself around in cannons. I didn't see the point. But it got high reviews when it came out.
Can't trust reviews on the internet.
I don't know. All these games, by the way, other than Fix-It Felix, I got to because people gave them good reviews at some point in the past.
No accounting for taste, I suppose.
I suppose not. Spy Mouse, which is like a puzzle-style game where you have to get cheese and avoid cats. It's actually kind of interesting. You kind of like have to pick your way through a level with these like marauding cats and find out how to get out. And there's different colored doors that you can go through to like bounce around the levels. Interesting puzzle design. Horrible controls.
Huh.
Terrible.
Okay.
You have to like
just like
drag your finger to make a path, kind of. There's another game that it reminds me of called Flight Path, which is a fantastic game.
Oh, even I've played that. That game's great.
Flight Path is a great game and one that I would want to
land all the airplanes.
Yeah, so I guess we can give a rundown on that. I played it on iPad because having a bigger screen is way better for that game.
I could see that.
In Flight Path, you have planes that are trying to land at your airport, and the color of the plane tell you what runway they need to land on, and you have to tell them how to get to the runways without crashing into each other. Pretty great.
Right, it's a similar idea where you like drag the plane, or you don't drag it, but you like draw a line with your finger from the plane to the runway, and then you just do it over and over so that hopefully the planes don't crash into each other.
So imagine that control.
Which they do frequently.
Oh, yeah. Imagine that control scheme put onto like a puzzle game with live cats trying to get your character.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a little rough because like you can't, like once you start on the path, right, it's not easy to update.
Exactly. Yeah. So live controls doesn't really work so well. Interesting design. Wouldn't try it again. Didn't pay for it.
Okay.
I at one point downloaded a game called Earthworm Jim. I don't know if you've heard of this.
It's an SNES game.
Yeah,
I know. Is great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic game.
Or has a lot of really great art. I don't remember if the game plays that well.
I don't know. I don't remember either, but I remember it being fun at the time when it came out on Genesis, I think.
Is this literally just that game
ported
for the phone?
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
Crashes all the time. Horrible controls.
Does it actually run, though?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, I got about a third of the way into the first level. It would crash. Every time I tried to load the game, it would crash once. And then I could restart it, and it would kind of work for a little bit, and then it would crash again. And it didn't really matter because trying to control Jim at all accurately was impossible.
Yeah, there were some pretty messed up jumps in that game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So
like you had to like clear big caverns.
Play that one with a real controller, I guess. You can go back and enjoy it for real. I deleted it. I even paid for that one, and I straight up deleted it.
Bummer.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you can always download it again, and it still won't work. But
the idea behind this project, JJ, is I'm not re-downloading anything old at this point, right?
Gotcha.
Only new apps.
Cleansing the.
Because the backlog of apps you've downloaded is gigantic, right?
I mean, yeah, I've downloaded a lot of apps in my time.
You as a person in this modern world.
Mm-hmm. You download apps. That's what you do.
Right. So now that we have capacities that can store most of these apps, it's time to get rid of the clutter.
Actually, I think my phone doesn't have that much space. I think it only has like 32 gigs or something.
Oh, man. 64 minimum. Come on.
Nah. I just don't keep a lot of stuff on my phone at any one time.
Okay, we're almost done.
All right. What's next? I got to know.
Topple. I remember this game. You stack
knock stuff over.
No, so you try not to knock stuff over.
That's misnamed game. I'm very cross at this moment.
You, I think what I remember right is that you try to. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you do knock stuff over.
I don't know. You played the game. You tell me.
Well, I didn't play the game because it doesn't run. I played it once before, and I remember you use the accelerometer. You tilt the phone. I think you're right that you try and topple over these stacks as well as you can by turning your phone around. But I can't remember it very well, and I tried to open it, and it doesn't open. So,
okay,
Topple's a dead game, apparently.
Done.
And the final game is Infinity Blade.
Oh, I've heard of that one. It was very popular for a while.
Infinity Blade was a big deal because it was, I think, basically like an iPhone 3GS launch game. And it was their attempt, Apple's attempt to say, like, you can play real games on this, by the way. It has CG animatics. It's an RPG-style game.
I think it was made by Epic, the company that makes Unreal.
It's in the Unreal Engine, yes. It is a true game, and I think they've made 2 sequels. I think they're on Infinity Blade 3, but I might be wrong.
Right.
No research. Anyway, it's actually pretty cool. It gave me the same warning. It was going to slow down my phone, but I didn't notice anything. I played the first battle in it and said, I like this game a lot. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually going to give it a shot. So that one went into a folder to play later. And I will review it and possibly the sequels of it on this show at some point.
All right.
Because I want to give that one some actual time.
You liked it enough that you're willing to do it for real.
Yeah. No, it seemed like it had a lot of depth to it. You know, it's a lot of real-time combat, like dodge, block, all that sort of stuff. And after I beat the first boss, there was like 17 experience gauges and like an in-game gold system. And
filling up experience gauges is the best.
I know, right? It's literally so rewarding. It doesn't even like... Exactly. Yeah. And anyway, it looked like a fully constructed game, which is what I would expect from Epic. But it was nice that was the last one that I was going to tackle before this podcast. I was like,
ended on a good note. On a good note.
Yeah, exactly. But especially when I tried to open Topple, and I thought that was going to be the last one. I was like, oh man, I
didn't even run.
I gotta try one more.
Oops.
So that was it, man. That was my inspiration from last time.
That's cool. I'm glad you got a chance to clean out your phone's memory a little bit.
Yeah.
Free up some of those gigabytes.
So Andrew's decluttering will continue in a future episode.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for rapid fire games you don't have to try.
All right. Well, letting everyone know.
Yeah. We tried another game this week that I never thought you'd play again.
Yeah. Well, they really soured me on it, man. But it was pretty fun, what we did of it, don't you think?
Tell people what we played, I guess. Diablo?
We played some Diablo 3 again?
Yeah. So we opened up Diablo 3. We talked about it last week at the very end in the rapid news section. They're doing an anniversary event with Diablo 1, which has been recreated inside Diablo 3 as a special instance-style dungeon thing. And
right. There are 16-ish levels, and all of the old characters and quests and stuff that you remember from Diablo 1, or don't if you never played it, are in there. Trust me. You get your skeleton king, you got your butcher, you got your warlords of blood, and whatever other kinds of things from Diablo 1 that you think you know about.
The Dark Lord.
Yeah, the Dark Lord, Diablo. And it looks like old Diablo.
The
and
pixels...
the butcher looks like the butcher did from Diablo 1 and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Let's talk about the look for a second. They quote-unquote pixel visioned it.
Yeah.
They made it look old.
Right. And like...
in a new way, kind of way.
Yeah. It's interesting because as you change, you can see that it really is just a filter on top of the game, because you can go in and change the graphical settings still, right? Like you can turn up the anti-aliasing and all this stuff. It obviously has no effect in this area because it's all pixelated, but like you can see the resolution of what the pixels or what is being pixelized changes as you like mess with the resolution of the game running behind it.
I kind of wish the look...
It's kind of interesting.
I wish the look were a full-time filter option.
Oh, you just like it? It's weird because they restrict the movement to only 8 directions, so like you can't run in full 360 like you can in normal Diablo 3.
I could do without that. I don't need that.
It also feels like they slowed down the movement speed a lot, which is annoying.
Maybe they did.
Or maybe our characters were just level 1 and had no movement speed abilities.
Yeah. I was moving faster than you at one point because I got a +5 move speed boot. But they seem to have, to mark, just like Diablo 1, there's like no item drops.
Yeah, that part is true too.
So, we're like level 10. Well, we started at level 1, by the way, to try this out.
And we found a chest and got like some items out of it at one point, but like it was, there was a point where like we had like no items and we were trying to fight a boss and we were just getting our butt kicked.
Yeah. I noticed more so than when you played Diablo 3, because Diablo 3 you just destroy everything all the time. It doesn't matter what level you are, who you're fighting or what. You just sort of
keep clicking
and using all your abilities and you win even against the bosses.
Roll your face on those buttons.
You gave me a mental image of you and I playing, and like on the other side of this thing, JJ is just smashing his face into this.
In some respects, that is actually how you should play Diablo 3.
Yeah, I mean, you should literally be rolling your fingers from Q to R all the time.
All the time, yeah.
In this, it felt like an old style game where we had to learn the pattern of the boss and what to do and what not to do. We got rolled by the Skeleton King the first time we tried him. And with the second time we tried him, we were rotating so that neither of us died, but we were hitting him all the time so that he wouldn't summon those minions.
Yeah, I wonder if it was so tough because we were playing on, like, if you remember in regular Diablo 3, you don't play on normal difficulty because normal difficulty is just like a walk in the park. I wonder if we should have played on, like, I think we were on Master or something. I think we could have played on Hard and maybe it would have been a lot easier.
Well, it was easier once we realized, like, there was a mechanic that if you were hitting him all the time, he couldn't summon adds, which is what was killing us.
Oh, and also, if you don't stand in his thing, he doesn't heal from the damage he deals to you.
Right. So there's a lot to learn in that aspect because you start at level 1 and it's harder, and it's interesting to play a game that you actually had to play when you hit the bosses. Although we were getting rolled by some of the mobs too.
Yeah, our damage output was low, and it's definitely because we didn't have items.
Yeah. So in one aspect, I
actually think if we had done that solo instead of together, we probably would have been a lot stronger.
Yeah,
we probably would have had like 3 or 4 extra levels, right? Because it's shared all the experience.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was nice. It felt like a new experience in an old game kind of way.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. I am excited to go try it again and do all the weird stuff.
I'm excited enough to play through the event. I don't think it will get me to play D3 after the event.
I agree with you about that.
But I at least want that Royal Cow, man.
Okay. Do you think you're going to do the event solo for the other pet? There's 2 pets. There's the cow, and then there's the one for doing it by yourself. 1 to Diablo. Because I bet if you put it on normal, you could just blaze through that thing from level 1 pretty easily.
I bet so. It kind of inspires me.
You can do the Royal Cow thing separately, I think.
Yeah, you can do the Royal Cow like as a group?
I think.
Maybe we should do that as a group, and then I won't burn myself out, and then we'll just do the level 1 thing. It sucks that... Why do they make you do it solo? It's like a party game. Like, so stupid.
It's a pet, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to relook again to see what the deal is to get the royal cow, but it involves like getting Wirt's leg and teaching it to the blacksmith as a recipe, and then making one, and then disenchanting it, and a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah, but you can do it with your level 70 character in like 5 minutes, probably.
Yeah, but I mean, you should do it in the season, right? No, I guess you could just jump on any other level 70, right? Because the cows go across everything. That's right. I forget the pets are a separate thing. You're right. Yeah, you could probably do it in 30 seconds on a level 70.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's a few things you get, I guess, maybe for doing it. I don't see the season benefit, really, unless you're going to hit 70.
Yeah, there probably isn't any.
So, if you're making the level 1 to get to Diablo, maybe you do it as a seasonal just in case you want to play more, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
You're probably right.
I think it ends at the end of January, so we have a little bit of time, though not a lot.
Yeah, a week or two here.
Yeah. Speaking of Diablo and stuff like that, since we'll probably follow it up after we do a little bit more, I hit 500 wins with Druid.
Yeah, congratulations. This is your first golden hero portrait.
Yes, it is.
That's surprising that this is just now your first one.
I spread it around.
Okay.
I have multiple characters with 200, 300 wins.
Okay. So I also, I would say like earlier this year, I hit 500 wins on Paladin, and I am at 400 and some change on Druid.
Wow. You must play a lot more than me.
And then Mage is at 300 something, and then everything else is way, 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 way lower.
I think everything's at 100 or above, but...
Oh, yeah. I think my Warrior has like 45, and Priest probably like 100, Shaman like 100, and Rogue like 20.
Can I tell you about my experience in my last like 20 games?
Okay. You were playing Druid on ladder.
Standard ladder.
Okay.
Shaman.
That sounds right.
Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
Shaman.
Uh-huh.
Shaman.
Yep.
Reno Mage.
Okay.
Shaman.
Nice.
Shaman.
Mm-hmm.
Reno Priest. Shaman.
Oh, nice. Fun.
Shaman.
Uh-huh.
Dragon Priest.
Oh, Dragon Priest.
Face Warrior.
Cool. Yeah.
Face Warrior. Shaman. Shaman.
Did you hear a lot of the Patches the Pirate I'm in charge now sound?
Less than I did a couple months ago. Or not months.
I still hear that sound a lot when I play Hearthstone.
Sure, I mean you still hear it almost every other game, right? You know. I think the most interesting game I had was some guy that was trying to play Mildruid.
Oh? How did that go for him?
Badly, because I was playing Jade Druid, so I just kept putting cards back in my deck.
Immune to mill?
Yeah.
I wonder if mills would include that card too, so that they never mill themselves.
I don't know. He didn't seem to have it.
Huh.
I think he quit when he started realizing what I was doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well.
I mean, it's so... Oh, here's my question for you, Andrew. So you played a lot of Jade Druid, right?
I have.
Have you unlocked the final form of the Golem?
No.
So what
how level is the final? I've gotten to a 13-13.
Oh man! So apparently the Golem art changes as it gets stronger.
Yes,
right?
that is true. So I think it's
level 1 has like 1 art, and then it changes at like
5
or something.
5, I think
5,
and then again
there's another one at like 7.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's 1, 4, and 7. I think you're right.
But there's another one that changes again at 20.
2-0?
20, yeah.
No, I've never gotten to 20. People quit.
Me either. But I saw on the internet someone posted like one of those short clips of a stream where the person had a 2020 and it had different art. I was like, what? There's another art? I played probably like 40 games with that deck, and I never got to a 20.
No.
Because your opponents quit before then.
Oh, yeah.
Because like obviously by the time you can summon a 20, you have lethal because, right? Like,
yeah, you
had to get from a 1/1 to a 19/19 before it. How did they get rid of all those?
The highest I've ever gotten was, I think, a 16/16, and that was a turn where I dropped Bran and 2 of those kitty cat guys.
The woohoo guys?
The woohoo guys.
I love those guys.
And so, I got 4 golems in one turn, and I think before the 4th summon even came up, he was just like, concede.
Concede, yeah.
And that's what happens every game. When you drop 3 or 4 golems after they've used most of their removal.
Usually the only times I've been able to get a giant number of golems like that is if I have Auctioneer out and I play that spell and I shuffle and I draw it a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
and then you get up to like 13 or something, and then your opponent concedes.
Yeah, well, I've dropped Bran from that deck as well as Harrison, because at a certain point it just was like, well, I'm drawing Harrison, but
yeah, you got to play Ooze.
Yeah, well, Harrison was good once, but the other times I'm just sitting with my hand at turn 2.
Nah, you want Ooze for sure. You run like one Ooze in every deck now these days, I think.
Yeah.
Just because every deck has weapons and pirates.
Well, it's a bummer because Harrison's so much better, but at this point it just doesn't matter.
You can't afford to wait till turn 5, yeah.
Well, that was my Hearthstone experience.
Hearthstone.
I don't know. I like Jade Druid, but I'm not certain it's very consistent.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I also like that deck. It's actually probably one of the decks I have the most fun playing. But yeah, it's not probably really good for ranking up.
Oh, well. It's time to figure out something else to play. I don't see the point in not... Well, I see the point because I enjoy it, but I got to start getting wins with something else.
I have really been enjoying playing the Reno Priest stuff.
I guess it's time to join the cult, huh?
Yeah, dude, Reno is so good. Got to play him now before he goes away forever.
But you mean Kazakus, basically, right?
I mean, yeah. So you play Reno, you play Kazakus, and then you play that new Priest legendary that makes your hero power cost 0.
That's so broken.
It's so good,
It's so broken.
It's so good. Also, by the way, which persists if you play stuff like Justicar
Yep.
or Shadow Form.
Yep.
And so then you play. So the deck I've been playing, which I shamelessly copied from Brian Kibler, who I will give credit to because obviously I'm not a Hearthstone scientist, but he is, or he's a streamer anyway. It's a Reno Shadow Form deck. So the deck is like has all these combos with like cards that use Inspire effects and stuff to like you get a bunch of free uses of your hero power because you have that guy Beardo who like refreshes every time you cast a spell. Priest has a lot of like cheap spells with like Potion of Madness and Holy Smite and Power Word Shield and a bunch of stuff like that. So then you make a bunch of little spell combos and then you keep pinging them for 2 damage every time because it refreshes your hero power and doesn't cost anything. Mm-hmm. Or you play that other Priest legendary. This is an expensive deck. Let's be clear about this. There's a lot of legendaries in it.
Sure. I got Dust though. It's fine.
Yeah. Or you play that other Priest legendary where every time you use your hero power, it summons a random legendary. I got that off once. I played her and a free hero power and the 2-cost guy that lets you use your hero power twice. Mm-hmm. And so I put them all down, and then I just use my hero power on his face 2 times, and it's like one of them summons Deathwing. Concede.
Oh, God.
Pretty good.
Yeah, seems pretty good.
But then sometimes he summons Lore Walker Cho, and then you concede. You never know.
Oh, man. Did I ever tell you that I have successfully called 2 people's legendaries?
Like you said, oh, you're going to open this?
Yeah, so I've been sitting next to 2 people as they've opened packs, like from free packs or something, and mm-hmm. I'll be like, I think this is going to be a good pack for you. And they'll hover over everything, and there'll be a legendary in it. And one time I said, Lore Walker Cho. Bam, Lore Walker Cho.
Dang.
And the next time he was like, this is my first legendary in like 35 packs. I was like, you realize that means it's going to be Nat Pagle, right? Opens it up, Nat Pagle.
What a troll.
I know.
I never want to be near you when I'm opening packs. You're just cursing people with horrible legendaries.
It was pretty bad.
Can't give a brother Blood Lineage Thalnos. No, you got to give him Nat Pagle. Come on.
I know. I told the first person at least Lore Walker Cho is somewhat useful during like the adventure. Like I've seen it.
Yeah, he's broken against some of the computer stuff.
Yeah.
And like the tavern brawls because people don't know what to do against him.
Yeah.
And he has 4 health, which is annoying to remove. And the AI is really dumb. They hate him so much. They will like throw their 2020 guy against Lore Walker Cho to kill him.
They don't. Yeah. Super weird. Anyway, so at least Lore Walker Cho has some use.
Yeah. He's probably better used as 400 dust for you to craft something better.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, do what you got to do.
All right. I think it's time.
The big news of the week.
Do we have to get to it? We've waited this long because I figured we were going to talk about it the longest. The Nintendo Switch is here, JJ.
Yeah, what a name.
Oh man, did they ham it up with the stupid let's switch.
You don't think the guy going like and like snapping, I don't know if that came through in the microphone, is really cool? That was funny. I thought it was cool press conference
you're talking
idea.
About when they were talking about the Joy-Con pad and he was like snapping his fingers like every few seconds.
Yeah, and their presentation would cut to another person every time someone snapped their fingers.
Switch, snap, snap.
I don't know.
No,
Switch.
It's just funny. Like that video was fine, but every time they were on the screen, they're like, "Let's switch to," and I was like, "Oh God, come on."
Yeah, I thought that was funny. It's like, let's switch to these people. Snap, and then it cut to them.
I don't know.
That was all right.
It didn't bother me. I just thought it was like a shake my head moment.
It was extremely cheesy.
Yeah, it's super cheesy. But okay, so Nintendo Switch is. Everybody probably knows about it.
$300. That's what's important.
What's that?
To say it's $300. That's what's important to say.
Well, it's let's start it from the beginning. Nintendo's new console.
Yeah, it's a tablet-like thing.
Mm-hmm.
With detachable controllers on the side
mm-hmm.
that you can either use by themselves, almost like Wii Remote-like, or attached to the side of the tablet, or plugged into like a little grippy thing.
So Nintendo's motive for this, it looks like a gigantic version of a Sega Game Gear or like a Nomad or a what were those other portable console style things, you know?
Yeah. I think a Game Gear is like a similar look. Although Game Gear was smaller.
Sure, this has a... how big
this looks
screen?
like a... I don't know.
10 inches maybe? Maybe less?
No, it's way smaller than that. Like 6 or 7.
Okay.
It looks like a tablet with controllers snapped onto the side of it.
Which is almost essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But it has a dock, and you can therefore use this. Nintendo has designed this to kind of be used all around, and I wonder if that means that this is their new model going forward, and the 3DS is kind of dead.
It seems likely, at least partially, to be that way.
Yeah. So you can plug this into a dock, which is then plugged into your TV, and you take your side controllers off of the screen and either hook them into a controller or
the grip thingy, or like use them.
Or you can use them as nunchucks separately. You plug them into the side and you take it with you. It seems like an all-around style console is what they've tried to design. It looks like they've been successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's unclear how good any of it will be. Like, okay, watching it and their little presentation was fun, but you could immediately see some cases where, like, no one's ever going to do this.
So let's talk about the features of it first, though, before we talk about the stuff that you would never do.
Well, but like some of their features are things that I think no one is ever going to do, right? Like, it's so you can play local multiplayer games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where each of you use one of the two controllers, because it comes with, they snap off the sides and you have two, one for each hand.
Mm-hmm.
And like one person uses one and the other person uses the other one.
Right.
That seems like a really reasonable thing. Like, you have both right there.
Mm-hmm. One
person plays, mini games or whatever. They had one where it looks like it's like a quick draw kind of, like 1, 2, 3 draw kind of thing.
Oh, okay. We're going to go straight there. All right.
Well, I'm just using it as an example,
okay.
But like, that's one of the mini game things that they showed as a use for this, like each person holding one.
Uh-huh.
And that seems reasonable. But then they also said, your friends can bring over more of the little grips, and then all 4 of you or whatever can play split screen or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like crazy talk to me. I can't imagine a case where someone is going to have more of those little grip things. Why would you ever do that?
Well, you can buy extra little grip things for $70.
Right. Of course you can. But why?
Well, I was just about to say, as a parent, this seems pretty awesome, because I can imagine a future where, sitting in an airport, you can bust this out, take those little grips off, and tell your kids to go to town.
Yeah, that seems fine, right? Like, each of the kids get one or whatever, or the kid gets to play with both of them and look at the screen. Mm-hmm. But like, why? It seems to me like a weird feature to allow one screen to support like 4 controllers or something.
Why?
It just doesn't seem to me like something that's going to happen that frequently.
I don't know that it would happen frequently, but it certainly gives you the option to use it for like a party style thing.
Yeah.
I agree with you that I'm not sure, and I was going to talk about that with one of the games.
And they made that point as like, this is how you'll use it. And it seems to me like that's how people who have multiple copies of this console at their house will use it, and no one else.
No, I want to talk about that when we get to one of the games they talked about, but I think what they've tried to design is an all-arounder that hits the same market as the Wii as well as their fan market, right? So they're trying to create the old now Wii feeling where it was like people came over to play a Wii because it had these weird party games on it. So they've tried to recreate that in a different way. Like, okay, this still has the party games, but it's not a Wii. You take it with you to a party, you know? So it's still got that aspect to it, but also is much more of a, not hardcore, but much more of a console for playing real games as well. Like the Wii never had that.
Right. There were very few games that came out for the Wii that were, well, that's not true. There were several, but like there were games that the Wii was mostly perceived as this like party game style kind of console. It had
that connotation, and the controllers were wacky for no reason, and you know, it was kind of just hurt by the nunchuck eventually. Like the image of the console was not.
The motion controls are cool, but like if you want to play games that require like precision jumping, no, not so fun.
Exactly. So this looks like it has that option. Should we just finish up the hardware real quick?
Yeah.
So it looks like it's got its own little LCD screen. I didn't hear if it was touchscreen.
It is.
It is, okay.
Capacitive, yeah.
Capacitive touchscreen. Each controller seems to have a new HD shaker in it.
HD rumble is what they called it.
So you can they can change the output of the rumble that is going to your thing, as well as create different sensations in the controller. They use the example of like you could feel like it's like ice in a glass or something.
That's really tough to know until we actually feel it. It's like, what does that even mean? It shakes on the bottom or something. I have no idea.
One of the Joy-Cons has a near-field chip in it. No, Joy-Con is what they're calling those little side paddle controller style things.
What a weird name.
Very
Japanese. It's
better than Wiimote.
You're right. That's also a weird name. I'm not saying that this is a worse name. I'm just saying it's weird.
It's got a USB-C connection.
Yeah, that was good. I was worried that they were going to say, oh, it's got USB, and then it was going to be like USB micro. And I was like, oh, USB-C is good, though.
And USB-C is really good because they say 2.5 to 6 hours on battery life.
Yikes.
2.5 is likely what I would think when you're playing any game.
Yeah, that's what I would go ahead and expect. If the screen is on and you're using it, yikes.
You know what, though? I'm not worried about it.
No?
USB-C is on the bottom of that thing, and every single person worth their salt these days carries around one of those battery packs.
Yeah, they do.
And I can imagine in my future, with multiple children, etc., you know, myself included, using USB-style devices and carrying around probably a battery the size of my house. So
you're going to get one of those Tesla wall batteries.
Just put it on a backpack, charge everybody's things all the time.
Charge people $2 to plug
in. So I imagine, you know, one of those gigantic brick chargers will keep this thing running as long as you really want.
Yeah. My only concern with the fact that the battery is like one of my biggest concerns with this, and like the silliness of the controllers being all weirdly detachable all the time.
You know what, though? The controllers themselves, when they're attached to
I don't think the controllers themselves are bad. I think that the like weird detachable nature of them seems strange.
Okay.
It might end up being great. I don't know.
Plugged into the console, looking at how they plug into the console, they look solid. And looking at how they're designed, they look, once they're plugged in, like a normal controller should.
Yeah,
they don't look all wacky and vertical like the Wiimote was.
The part. It's the part where you're holding them separate and like in your two hands. That's the part that's weird to me.
Yeah, I don't think that that's going to come up if you're not playing the party games.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably true.
What other hardware stuff am I missing? Oh,
there's the dock.
The dock,
and the dock has HDMI out, goes to your TV.
They're putting it out in two colors. There's the gray controllers, there's blue controllers, and there's red controllers. And you can buy a system with gray controllers, or you can buy a system with one red and one blue controller, which I actually kind of like the look of it.
I actually think the way it works is there aren't blue controllers and red controllers. They sell a set of a blue and a red.
If you buy the extra paddles, the Joy-Cons,
the separate
they
ones,
come in these three colored
solid
sets.
colors.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I agree with you. I think if I was going to buy one, the one blue, one red is the better looking one.
It looks cool.
The slate, like, standard color one just looks like, this is some video game stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe if you had no intention to ever play the party games or we're just going to put it under underneath your TV in the back or whatever, then like maybe you would want that one, I guess. But if anyone's going to look at it, the color looks nice.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of interesting. I wonder to myself if they're going to do like they did with the Wii a couple months later or towards Christmas time, they're going to do a Zelda-fied version with like all...
Oh, I'm sure. Nintendo loves to release like limited edition hardware with like all kinds of paints and colors and stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing I thought that was nice is that they said it's going to be region-free, which is the first time I think Nintendo has done that in maybe ever. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the NES was region-free.
They kind of had to, right? I mean...
things have been going that way for so long. Nintendo was the last holdout for probably the last like 2 consoles generations.
Yeah, and this is a good time to talk about how you play games on it. Everything's back to being a cart or download.
A little SD cart thing.
So it looks like I couldn't quite tell if they are SD cards or if they're more.
They're probably Nintendo proprietary SD cards.
But behind the kickstand, because this does have a kickstand, by the way, so you can use the screen on a table or something like that.
Yeah.
Behind the kickstand, JJ, is a micro SD slot.
Nintendo has been pretty good about putting those in stuff, which is nice.
So don't worry about download size because you can have a 256 gigabyte card in there.
That's good because they've mentioned already the size of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game is 13 point something gigabytes.
But it comes on a cart, so...
So that was the download size if you were going to download.
I don't know why you download...
But the internal storage is only 32, so it's like a third of the space of your console for one game.
I don't know. But put an SD card in it. Well,
that's obviously you're going to, but I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that it's like, you need that SD card. It's not like, it's not optional.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I just think that some people complain about things like that and they don't really need to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there are other versions available, so you are going to have to get a big SD card for this thing if you're going to download games at all, probably.
Right. God, what other hardware should we get into? Is there anything else that we're forgetting?
I think that's all the hardware stuff.
I'm sure there'll be all sorts of crazy things that come out in the next couple of days, but
yeah,
because there was news coming all last night after the thing.
There were tons of leaks also before it went out. I actually saw a leak of a list of a bunch of games.
I have that up, and we'll go through it in a minute.
People were like, "This ain't be real. Look at these names." And actually, a bunch of them were real.
The only other feature I think we haven't gotten to is the online service.
Okay, so have they clarified what some of these online service statements mean?
They have a nintendo.com/switch/online-service. And so here we go. The service is a paid service. No idea what the amount is yet. And you get a free trial until fall of 2017. But the free trial only covers certain things, which is online play, which is accessed through the service. So if you want to play...
Right, so that's like Xbox and PlayStation both charge for online multiplayer now. So
correct.
That seems pretty standard.
Yes. That you can use as a free trial until 2017, the end of 2017. And then as a free subscriber, you also get access to the eShop. You can register friends. You can take screenshots and put them on social media. And you can access the parental controls all for free. As a paid subscriber, you also get online lobby and voice chat apps, so you can hang with your friends that aren't playing the same game as you, exclusive discounts and deals, as well as a monthly, and I'll read the exact sentence.
Yes, this is the part that I want clarification
Subscribers will get to download and play a Nintendo Entertainment System or Super Nintendo Entertainment System game with newly added online play features for free for a month.
So, is that a 1 month free rental of that game?
Good question. No clarification anywhere on this website. No clarification from Nintendo yet at all.
Great. I'm sure it will come out eventually what that really is. But
this seems very specifically worded, and to me, what this means is one game from either of these systems will become free for a month and then go away.
But then after that month, do you get to keep playing it? That's the question.
It says for free for a month. It doesn't say download once a month for free.
Right. Yes, I understand the differentiation you're trying to make. But so to compare and contrast, the PlayStation and Xbox systems have these paid online system things also, and they give you free games every month as well. But once you have gotten your free game, you get it. You get to keep playing it forever.
As long as you're a service subscriber, right?
Correct, yeah. So this would be them allowing you to play the game for a month and then taking it away? That's kind of what it sounds like?
The way this is worded, I would make that assumption.
So that's a real tricky... I don't know if this is just a matter of their English translation potentially wasn't great, or it's not clear there. Because like you said, you really just reword that sentence slightly differently, and it means you get to keep the game, but you can only get it it's only available during that month, but afterwards you get to keep it. And like, you use the same words, but in a different order to create that sentence, right?
I would hope that that's the case. But I think...
Me too, because that's really... If it's not, that's like really behind the bar.
It would be very easy to have made that clear. And I think that they didn't make that clear because that is not the case. Cynically, that is what I'm thinking.
Then my only hope is that this service costs a lot less, because I don't know how much Xbox Live costs anymore, but I think the PlayStation subscription is like $60 or something.
A year?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I thought. And I think Xbox Live, I think those prices are pretty similar.
Yeah.
Someone can write in to correct us. But it would be insane to me if they charge you the same amount for Nintendo's thing and then give you less stuff for it. That's crazy.
It's Nintendo. It may start that way and change. As of right now, there's no way to know.
Yeah, I don't know. That is the biggest question mark of the whole system for me. It's like, what is this online thing?
It's literally, I think, the last big question mark left at this point.
And then, like, you have to wonder, well, if the system doesn't get very popular, because I mean, if you're playing Xbox, right? There's a lot of people out there that have Xboxes, so you're going to get an online game and play it. There's a lot of people playing those games. How many people are going to have Switches?
Yeah, there are going to be enough people playing it and enough people playing your online NES game versus a newer game like Mario Kart 8.
It's like, or like, how do I know? Okay, I want to get a game of Splatoon. There's a lot of people playing Splatoon, I'm sure.
Sure.
It's a very, very popular game. It was a huge hit on the Wii U. No reason to assume this sequel wouldn't also be huge on the Switch. Okay, easy to get a game of Splatoon online, no problem. How many people online are going to play like this weird Nintendo game that they put out with online features for like a month?
Who knows?
That's that's the concern that I have.
Yeah. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you.
So we'll see. That is the weirdest part of the whole thing, I think.
Should we...
Or the biggest question mark.
Should we talk about the games real quick? I have a list of games up.
Okay, perfect. Run them down.
Okay. So, we'll talk about this one first, I think. But should I just do the whole list?
Yeah, let's just go through the list real quick and we can pick one.
Or should I... Okay. Let's do the launch games that I can find on here.
Okay, and there aren't that many of those, so it should be a short list.
Snipper Clips Cut It Out Together.
Don't know what that
Just
is.
Dance 2017.
That's probably what everyone thinks it is.
I Am Setsuna.
That's a game that's out on other platforms.
Has Been Heroes.
No idea what that is.
Super Bomberman R.
That sounds cool. It hasn't been a Bomberman game in a million years.
Yeah. 1-2 Switch.
It's that mini game thing we were talking about.
And Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
That's a Legend of Zelda game.
That's it. That's launch. Everything else is April or summer or fall, which will eventually...
Have they said how much games are going to cost?
I assume $65.
Okay.
That's not a ton. It has Legend of Zelda at launch, so
$59.99 plus tax.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man.
I mean, if you look at look at games on that list, right? There's one big game, Legend of Zelda. Yep. There are a few smaller kinds of party-ish type games like Just Dance and the Switch thing and the Scissors one, I would guess. And then there's some stuff that's just a question mark that we have no idea what it is.
So there's a lot of other games on this list that I'll read off in a second, but that's hopefully they've got a rolling schedule because I think Mario Kart's scheduled for April, and maybe they continue to just roll stuff so people will buy it.
They even in their presentation they were like Mario Kart's in April. One of the other things they did was in summer, and then the actual Mario game is holiday 2017.
I mean, they really need to have learned from their last two launches that they've got to have games. They cannot just throw systems out there with no games.
Apparently they can.
Well,
I mean, Legend of Zelda is the game everyone wants, though, right? I mean, so that'll keep people busy for a while.
Exactly. And given the nature of what it seems like, it should keep people busy forever. Let's talk about 1-2 Switch, and then we'll get back into the rest of the games that are supposedly coming.
Okay.
1-2 Switch was the game JJ was talking about with the detaching the controllers and using them like a party game thing.
It's like a mini game collection.
It's a mini game collection where you don't look at the screen and you like have these little activities you do with the controller, kind of like Twitch reaction style games, like pull it up and draw or
the like quick draw.
Yeah, all sorts of types of like mini game, quick reaction, party game style stuff. How popular do you think this is going to be for doing stuff like that?
Super not. I don't know. I have no desire whatsoever to play those games. If I was someplace and someone said, let's do it, I would probably agree. But I'm not going... If I bought a Switch, which I don't know that I am at this point, I would not buy that game.
Huh.
But it's the fatigue from years of having to play Wii bowling everywhere or whatever. Like I don't need to play party game.
I think games. I think that the Wii style game part of this is not going to be uber popular. And I have an example for that in another game that they have in this list, which was ARMS.
Yeah, they did a big thing about that too.
So it looked like you took the Wii controller and you did some sort of... You would need another set of Joy-Cons, by the way, because you needed 2 per person. And you did some sort of boxing.
Yeah, it's like you break them off the screen, and then you use them like... Hold them in your fists and then punch like boxing.
That game looked super dumb.
I mean, they said that game's going to have online multiplayer, so, it'll be fine. Play there.
It just didn't look cool. It just looked like it was going to be another...
It looked like a crazy, weirder version of Punch-Out, which I think maybe is giving that game too much credit.
I think so, too. It just looked like the same old Wii boxing, and just... I remember what Wii boxing was, which was literally just how fast can you move your arms back and forth.
Yeah. It seemed like there was a little more nuance to it than that, because the arms are so like long and stretchy. It's not about going quick. It seems like it's a lot... There's like, more about blocking and... trying to curve your shots to hit people and stuff.
Man. Wow.
Because you can throw curve punches and stuff, like punch around pillars they showed.
Cool.
Like, it seems weird.
Well, let's go through the rest of them, because I want to do Legend of Zelda last and end on a positive note. So the rest of the launch titles the rest of the titles that they've announced for this year, or that people have found out. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2,
Great.
Super Mario Odyssey, Christmas time.
Yeah, that looked cool, but I don't know, weird open world Mario stuff.
Yeah, it looked kind of like Super Mario Sunshine, kind of.
Oh man, there's some like good memes out there of Mario and the people. Like, because Mario is in a world where there's like full size normal people. It looks so weird, and Mario is still like normal short Mario sized. And I don't know. Go look at the memes on the internet for that. It's pretty funny.
Dragon Quest 10, Dragon Quest 11, Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2.
Those are Muso games, like Dynasty Warriors.
People really like those.
Yeah, they do.
FIFA, NBA,
Of course, FIFA.
Siberia 3, Skylanders, Farming Simulator, Arcade Archives, Steep, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Minecraft.
Dragon Ball Xenoverse is pretty cool.
Okay.
I played the first one of those. I assume this is Xenoverse 2,
yes.
though. Yeah.
Minecraft Story Mode, Project Sonic 2017.
Who knows what that is?
No More Heroes. Oh,
that was a very silly game.
This next one, the worst name of all time for any video game I've ever heard. Project Octopath Traveler.
That was the one that had a really cool, like, tilt-shift pixel art look, right?
Yeah.
That was a cool-looking game. I have no idea what it's about. It looked like an RPG.
What a terrible name.
Cautiously optimistic, but obviously they're going to have a real name. If they said Project in front of it, that's not the name of the game.
Rayman Legends.
That was a good game.
Well, let's try and release it again.
Ports. Woo.
Fast RMX.
Who knows what that is?
Ultra Street Traveler 2. Lego
Street Traveler?
Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Okay. So, but then, what the heck is that then? Because what's Street Fighter 2? Like, I know Street Fighter 2. What's Ultra Street Fighter 2? That's not a game.
I don't know. A new version of the same game.
Weird.
Lego City Undercover.
Okay.
Disgaea 5.
That was a good game on PS4 that I haven't played, but all those other ones were good. So it's like a Andrew, you may like that it is a Final Fantasy Tactics-like type game.
Cool. Sonic Mania.
Don't know what that is.
It's a 2D Sonic game.
Oh, good. That's probably better than whatever the other Sonic game is.
This is like they took all the retro games, put them in this game, and added new levels. Basically, this seems what.
Oh, that's good. That retro Sonic games are probably the better ones.
I think that's what they imply is like they took all the old games, put it in there, and made some new levels.
Okay.
Puyo Tetris.
Yeah, Puyo Puyo Tetris, man. That game is cool. I've seen that before. It's like Puyo Puyo is like a Tetris-like game, but this one combines both. Like Puyo Puyo is closer to Puzzle Fighter, if you remember that game, where they're like little blobs and they like blob together to make bigger blobs, and then you can blow all the blobs up.
Cool.
And they're all colored and whatever. But then this one also has Tetris blocks at the same time, so you're playing both games on the same well.
Oh, that's cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
it's a good mobile game.
Yeah, but it's on the Switch.
Yeah, but the Switch is mobile, so.
Oh, yeah. You mean on the mobile?
It would be a good game to take on your Switch mobilely.
Yes.
Skyrim.
A game from 6 years ago.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Shin Megami Tensei.
Game that was announced that had no video for it.
Fire Emblem Warriors, a.k.a. Dynasty Warriors Fire Emblem.
That sounds all right. People liked that Zelda Dynasty Warriors game, so...
Yeah, I like it. It's fun. But it's because I liked one Dynasty Warriors game, and now I have the Zelda one, and I never need to play another one.
I mean, they're all the same. So
but I got one with a Zelda
How many
skin.
times do you see Denis Lubu wreck some people in ancient China? Like, do you need it like 15 times? Because that's how many Dynasty Warriors there are.
I don't, but I did like getting into the Zelda skin.
Yeah, I think it's fun. Like, I think those games are fun to like mash around and do cool stuff.
I agree. And
if it's a property you like, play it.
Not on this list, but I know has been announced is Shovel Knight.
Yeah, Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, the upgraded version with all the new campaigns. And
last of the non-launch ones, Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Apparently, they say that's coming in 2017. I saw like a tweet from a Japanese person related to that game saying that, but who knows if that means the Japanese localization and then the English one later or something.
Okay, so Xenoblade was a Wii game, right?
Xenoblade Chronicles was a Wii game.
Okay.
Or it was called Xenoblade, just that in Japan.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a game that came out like right at the very end of the Wii's life cycle.
But it got rave reviews.
Very few people played it. Yeah, great reviews. A really, really good RPG. One of like the best that system had for sure, and maybe arguably some people's favorite.
Now then they remastered it for the 3DS.
It came out on the new 3DS, if you remember. They put out like an upgraded power version of the 3DS that had an extra analog stick, kind of like little nub thing. And that came out for that. I don't know anything about that version because I don't have one of those.
And then there was Xenoblade Chronicles X.
That came out for the Wii U, which is a completely separate game and seems to be at least unrelated story-wise to the first Xenoblade Chronicles.
Quality of that game, did you hear anything about it?
I played it, and it's great.
Oh, okay. So
it's a completely open world game. It's probably the best looking game on the Wii U. It's really, really impressive technology.
Now, you liked it, and it's open world?
I did, yeah. That was a game that had a strong story and a lot of like cool ways to explore things.
Interesting. So they followed it up with a good one. So Xenoblade's a good series, so I should be excited about this.
There was a lot of the Xenoblade Chronicles X ends on one of the worst cliffhangers I've ever seen of all time. Not really a cliffhanger, but like the ending of the story is like, and like throw your hands up in the air and like, why did we go through all of this?
Oh, bummer.
It was a really bad ending. And so people, I think a lot of people had a lot of issues with that game because it wasn't like the first Xenoblade Chronicles. They changed a lot of stuff. They made a big open world. The first one had like large spaces to explore, but it wasn't really, you could go back to them, but it was, instead of being like one giant, explorable world, it was, a series of areas that you could travel to, many of which were big and open, but not in the way you think of as an open world.
So if Chronicles 2 follows X, then we might get 2 gigantic open world games for the same system in the same year?
Possibly. Wow. It seems more like, by the fact that they named it Xenoblade 2, that maybe it's a sequel to the first game more like.
Okay.
The characters looked a little different than in either of those games, but it seemed like they're focusing a bit harder on the story and less on the like building the big crazy open world mech stuff that the second one had.
I think we should do an episode of more Xenoblade stuff because I watched the trailer for that and I'm like, what is happening here? And
it's some anime stuff. I don't know. The trailer for this game or the old one?
This one.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here either.
Like the giant monsters and stuff?
Yeah, that was a thing in the other games. I mean, it was all about scale, right? Where you're like a human-sized person. Mm-hmm. The first one, you live on a giant, like the world is a giant monster.
Oh, okay.
Or a giant thing. And so like you're on this like giant biomechanical thing and like the planes are like his legs.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And like the top is, well, I'm just explaining it, but like the top is his like head and it's icy up there. And like, then there's a second giant mechanical thing and that's where all the robots live and they're evil or something. And anyway, the game.
Wow.
Yeah, so then Xenoblade Chronicles X has a similar thing where like it's this big open world, but there are monsters of all sizes and all kinds of, like there's some that are your size, there are some that are like 50 times your size and you need a mech suit to fight and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
so they do a lot of that kind of playing with scale.
And then there's Breath of the Wild we haven't really talked about either.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Zelda.
That looks so good.
Yeah, I am worried about the open world tendencies of it, but this trailer they showed helped alleviate some of those fears.
Everyone's voice acted.
Yeah, it sounds like it's only during the cutscenes and
fine.
stuff though. Which is, yeah, I agree with you. I don't need voice acting in Legend of Zelda.
No, I don't either, but I don't mind that it got added to some cutscenes.
Right, yeah, I'm not hating.
Oh man, it looks so good. Did you see the release sets that they've already announced for it?
The like $8 million collector's edition that I have to fight off Nintendo fanboys for?
Yeah.
No, because I'm not going to get one.
Yeah. Well, they had one that was a special edition, lower edition, and it came with like a bag for your Switch that looked legit.
Oh, that's cool. That they probably need
like a carrying case style thing.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
So, I don't know. I kind of really want one, even though I'm not sure I'm going to buy a Switch, considering it's $300. $300.
So it's $300. March 3rd.
March 3rd, $300. Are they too late to the game with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox Pro coming out, and they're cheaper, right?
I mean, no, the Pro versions aren't cheaper. I think at $300, this is the same base price as a PS4 and an Xbox 360. Mm-hmm. But those are frequently on sale for $250. And they also include games, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Most of those bundles. I don't think the Switch ones do, which means that you're paying $300 for the console and then $60-ish for a game.
Ouch. Which
then puts you close to the price of the PS4 Pro, which is $400. So
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot.
I'm real hyped about it. It looks super cool. I'm glad that they've announced a lot of these games. Hopefully they don't all get pushed to next year like I think is probable.
I agree with you.
It looks super cool.
If the ones that they announced having release dates in 2017 end up having release dates in 2017 by holiday this year,
this will be a system to own.
This would be a system with a good number of games. Yeah, you could feel good about owning it.
I think that I may hold off on the system for now.
Yeah, that's sort of where I am too.
I wish that we got paid to do this podcast and I could buy it and use it to review it. But I think in the short term, there's not much that would be added to my life by owning this other than Breath of the Wild.
Right. It's the desire to play the Zelda is the one thing I have, but I think that game's still coming out on Wii U, which I have, so I could get that for $60 or whatever and then just be done.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually coming out on Wii U
next year or the year after. I thought they said that it was. Maybe they've backtracked.
I think they backtracked it.
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything about Legend of Breath of the Wild on Wii U recently.
Well, obviously they don't want you to know about it because they don't want you to buy it there.
Right. But my guess would be they axed it.
I have no idea.
Me neither. But I think I'm going to have to hold off until holiday. See if they do
or later.
Well, they may do a package at the holiday, like get some games.
Yeah, I'll probably wait at least a year, give it some time.
Well, this is why we don't tend to do a ton of news, because we're a little bit more practical on this show. Although, maybe that's what people are into, is us being practical.
Well, look, we just got to tell it how it is.
I mean, this is a show for practical gamers.
That's right. People that used to be gamers like us.
Anyway, we think it's cool. It's exciting. If you get one, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, please. I want to know.
Tell us what it's all about and how if you like it.
Or if you get your hands on one before it comes out, also
let us know. Yeah,
I want to get impressions.
We got a lot of responses to Rogue One, by the way. Speaking of people mailing us in, etc. I think we're kind of running short on time this week, so we might have to do it.
This is a long episode.
We might have to do it next week and let people know that we did get their responses and that we'll talk about them more in depth when we have more time. But this has already run over a lot.
Yeah, this is a long one.
Did you watch Grand Tour? Should we bust through that real fast and then get out of here?
Yeah.
I just only had one comment, which was the Alfa Romeo thing put me to sleep.
The car part of the car show is not the part that you like?
Oh my God, it was way too long.
I don't know. I like that stuff. I always liked that stuff in regular Top Gear also. I like cars and like learning about cars that I can't afford. So I think it's fun.
You could afford that one.
No.
Well, they won't sell it in the United States, so you don't even need to worry about it.
Also that, but no, I can't actually afford that one. Oh, I guess I could if I emptied all my bank accounts. I could buy it
and sold your current car.
Yeah. Sell my car, empty my bank accounts. I could buy one, and then the first time something breaks on it, I'd be forced to put a second mortgage on my house.
Just because it's designed by Ferrari, that's all.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It looked nice. I don't know. I had Stephanie and I watching that show. She commented, she's like, I think that car looks ugly.
I agree with her. That car, I think that car looks ugly too.
Yeah, it's
you sit with it for a little while.
Questionable design decisions in a few places on that
You have
car.
to sit with it for a little while, because the first side view of it, you're kind of like, oh, that's nice. And then you kind of start to rotate around. And you're like, I don't think I like this anymore.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But the meat of the episode I thought was good. Them screwing around in the Bahamas.
Look, that
was fun.
That's all I need. I just want an hour of that every week.
Yeah.
I don't know. When they compare the cars, when they do the alpha segment and they compare new cars to each other,
right?
I get a lot more fun out of it. But when it's just one of them talking for like 25 minutes.
Did you like the part in a previous episode where James May did the history of the GT? The Ford GT?
Yeah.
Okay, but that was just one of them talking for like 20 minutes. Anyway, I just think it's a subject matter thing. You were not interested in watching and looking at that car for that amount of time, and that's fair.
Oh. Yeah, I guess maybe that was it, but it was just kind of boring. I don't know. Something about it was off, and maybe you're right. Maybe it was just the car, but it was just off. It felt like it went on way too long.
Yeah, I mean, once they got towards the end of that, and were doing the actual stuff in the Bahamas, it was good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Bahamas was great, and for people that didn't see it, they tried to quote unquote build a coral reef by dropping old cars into the water.
So that is a thing that I've seen.
It's absolutely a thing.
It's real, and they definitely did do it.
Oh yeah. When we went to Moria, which is Tahitian island, under our hotel, they had a bunch of these wire, rusty-looking things, and they tell each person at check-in, they're like, sorry about what it looks like under the water. Some of your rooms, looks like there's trash in the water, but it's not trash. We're rebuilding the coral underneath the hotel.
Yep.
So
yeah,
it's a real thing. It looks really cool. They completely botched it and made complete jerks of themselves.
Did you see at the end they had a little notice posted that says like no coral was harmed during the making of this, and like all of it was done for jokes?
Yeah. Well, the hotel thing looked like maybe that they were pissing some people off.
Yeah, possibly. Like maybe they went beyond whatever they were supposed to be doing.
I don't know. They drove a tractor through a hotel.
They drove a bulldozer through a private beach, probably.
Yeah.
They got in trouble, I'm guessing.
I'm guessing they got in trouble for that part. The rest of it looked like it was all done for laughs.
Yeah. But they did actually end up sinking one car to build an intentional coral reef. So
yeah, which is a great idea. Hopefully it takes on. Just as a PSA, people, you can look up what you can do to help the coral. It involves not going in the water with sunscreen with certain chemicals. I think oxybenzone. Benzone is the chemical that kills corals. Instead, buy a rash guard and stay out of the sun. Don't get sunburned.
Yep.
And we can all do our part to help save coral reefs.
All right.
Anyway, where can people get a hold of us, JJ? They can let us know what their thoughts are on the Switch and coral reefs.
That's podcast at weweregamers.com if you want to send us emails, or you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all of which are We Were Gamers. That
was a way better version of that.
Boom.
There you go.
37 episodes finally did one that's okay.
No, I think we had that discussion last week. And it was
I just think it's funny.
Why are we listing them all separately? All right, JJ, let's get out of here.
All right.